Children's Church Online. Yes, we are doing an episode each and every week. This will be out towards the end of the week, either Thursday or Friday, uploaded onto our YouTube channel for your viewing delight. It'll also have a craft corner, and at the other end of the week on Tuesdays we will have craft corner as usual, but without the biblical message, so it'll just be a craft show for you to watch and get on with some different types of crafts. So we're going to get on with our teaching today, which is brilliant, and I'm looking forward to it. So from today, we're starting some teaching all about God's love. God actually loves us. He loves us so, so much. I'm going to start in the Old Testament with a familiar story to probably so many people. But if you're not familiar, don't worry about that. We're going to go right from the start. We're going to talk about Joseph. So again, it's going to be a child-friendly version. But if you want the book, chapter and verses, they're coming up on screen for you now, so you can have a look at them with your own children. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead with reading through our child-friendly version of the first part of this story. Jacob made his home in Canaan. He already had 11 fine sons and was delighted when Rachel became pregnant again. However, tragedy struck. She died in childbirth. Jacob consoled himself by treasuring the newborn son and named him Benjamin. I do love Rachel's children, he said to himself, Joseph most of all. I wish I could make him my real heir, even though the custom is for the firstborn to inherit. The more he thought about it, the more he wanted to do something about it. In the end, he had a beautiful robe made for Joseph, one that would show everyone just how important Joseph was in the family. Joseph's 10 older brothers got the message loud and clear. This is just so unfair, they muttered to themselves. It's the worst kind of favoritism. Joseph's bragging and boasting doesn't make it better either. Joseph didn't seem to think very highly of himself. I had a dream, he told his brothers. We were harvesting wheat. Then my sheaf stood up and yours bowed down to it. Oh, did you really, baby brother? Well, remember, it's just a dream. We're not sheaves and we're not going to bow down. Joseph walked away. His dream seemed very real to him. Then he had another dream. Listen to this, he told his brothers. I saw the sun, the moon and the 11 stars bow down to me, he said. I'm going to tell our father about that, to see if he thinks it means what I think it means. But his father's response was not what he was expecting. Jacob was angry. Do you think that I and your mother and all your brothers are going to bow down to you? He asked. But Jacob couldn't help but thinking maybe Joseph really was destined for great things. One day, Joseph's 10 older brothers were away from home looking after their family's flocks. I want you to go and find them to make sure they're all right, said Jacob to Joseph. The young man set out. He was wearing his wonderful coat. His brothers could see him coming from far away. Here comes the dreamer, they jeered. Hey, what a chance to get rid of him. He's all alone in the wilderness and, well, that's a dangerous place. Who knows what animal might attack? We could tell a good story. Reuben shook his head. Let's just throw him down a dry well, he argued. That'll teach him a lesson. Great idea, the others cheered and grinned as their victim approached. When Joseph came near, they ripped his wonderful coat off him, threw him into a pit and sat laughing as they ate their meal. Reuben wandered off alone. He planned to rescue Joseph as soon as he could. Suddenly, the 9 brothers saw a caravan of traders going from Gilead to Egypt. "Let's sell Joseph," said the brothers, named Judah. "Then we'll be able to get rid of him forever without the nagging worrying of having left him to die." The others readily agreed. For 20 pieces of silver, they sold their brother into slavery. Later, Reuben went up to the pit. "It's empty," he whispered in horror. "What has happened? This is dreadful news." He shook his head in dismay when the others explained. "What should we tell our father Jacob?" He wanted to know. "The wild animal story," they agreed. "It's believable. It's final." They killed one of the flock and dipped Joseph's coat in the blood. Then, trembling with genuine fear, they took it to Jacob. "Is this cloth from Joseph's coat?" they asked. Jacob looked. He froze with horror. Then he uttered a long, unearthly cry of pain. "My son, torn to pieces by some wild animal." Wow, what a great start to our teaching. A great story, the story of Joseph, the start of it, where he's given this beautiful coat, where he has these dreams, and then he goes to visit his brothers, and then his brothers just happily just get rid of him. And it's a great story, but it's not already unfolded yet, but it teaches that God has a plan and a purpose through every single thing that we go through in our lives. And I want you to remember this scripture that's coming from the New Testament that is going to tie up all of our sessions, and it says this: "All things are done according to God's plan and decision, and God chose us to be his people." Maybe in this start of the story, it doesn't look like God chose us to be his people. God chose Joseph to be his people, but he did. And you'll see as the story goes on how much Joseph has learnt, how much Joseph has been taught through these trials that he has faced, through these different difficulties that he's faced, and also throughout all these challenges, and we'll see his initial dream coming to reality as well. So for now, I'll leave you with them thoughts, and let's go on to our craft corner, which is linked in with this teaching. Hi and welcome to this episode of Caroline's Craft Corner, and today we're going to do a craft attached to the teaching that you've just listened to. So you're going to need your pens, your pencils, your paper or card, whichever you have, and all of your creativity. Today we're going to be crafting something which we've read about in the story, and what I want you to do is take your paper or card and I want you to draw a coat. So draw the coat. So we're thinking about Joseph's coat, so here's one that I've done just as an example for you here. It's a very simple shape, so you'll be able to do similar. You could do a different design if you want. Now you've drawn your coat, which may look similar to this one that I showed you earlier, colour it in. Colour in the sides and the arms of the coat, and make sure you just leave this bit in the middle blank for some writing. So you've finished your coat. I hope it looks amazing. Here's mine. So here's my very colourful coat, and if you can see, there's some writing in the middle there, and it's just going to come up on screen for you now, and it says this: all things are done according to God's plan and decision, and God chose us to be his own people. And that's the message that I want you to take from today. That whatever happens in our life, God is a part of it, and he's part of the plan, and he's got a plan for your life. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Caroline's Craft Corner, and also for Children's Church Online. See you soon. Bye bye.